Hello, my saltines. Nice to see you today. Hope you're having a great day so far. What's today? Tuesday? Yeah, hopefully everyone's having a good week. Hubby and I just went to Walmart. Listen to this. We're going to talk about the Valo video, but I hate Walmart. Okay. We went to Walmart. Walmart decided they're not going to put out any bags because people are stealing the bags, the 10-cent bags. The plastic ones. Such a freaking nightmare. We had so much in our cart, no boxes, no bags. It made my headache a little bit worse. It kind of ruined, again, an experience at Walmart. So that sucked. But anyway, I'm back. I'm back home. Trying not to have too much coffee, but I am going to work on this second cup. I don't know about you guys, but my Keurig maker has 6 ounce, 8 ounce, and 10. I really need a 12 or 14 ounce to feel good. So what I've been doing is using 2 pods, ending up having 2 full cups of coffee, but 2 cups of coffee is a little much for my body. Just with the acid reflux and the caffeine and stuff. So first world problems today, you guys. First world. But it makes me happy seeing you today and knowing that we're going to spend time together makes me very happy. And I am going through comments. So thanks for your patience with that. Thank you everyone for your kindness, your understanding, your stories about a narcissistic mother, family or loved one. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. And as I've mentioned before, as a 55-year-old, I made the mistake of kind of asking myself as a psychic, like, what troubles am I going to have, if any? Can I just relax now and enjoy my life? Well, no. No, it's worked out. The answer is no. I have, and I'll talk about it over time. There's so much to talk about this with my family. Um, it's just so bad. It's so bad, you guys. So anyway, welcome to my channel. I like to call my friends here saltines because I'm the salty psychic, and you guys are my best friends. You're right in the trenches of this life we are together. So love spending time with you guys. Please hit that subscribe button. Have some patience with me. There's a lot to me. I jokingly said the other day something about my multi-personality disorder or something like that. I don't have that, but it's like sometimes I feel really pissed off. Sometimes I'm super happy. Sometimes I'm aggravated. Sometimes I'm just feeling warmth and fuzzy. So that's just how I am. I think everyone's like that, right? There's a lot of sides to us, a lot of emotions going on in life. So we're gonna watch episode 9 of Tylee and JJ's Silver Linings, which is a podcast by Adam Cox and Rex Connor, I believe is his last name, Uncle Rex. Lori Vallow's brother and uncle. So I think there's only going to be 10 podcasts, but we'll see. I mean, I'm looking at their subscriber count. They're already at 10,600. So they'll probably keep going. Last video they had on one of Adam's and Lori's cousins. I felt like he's a little cultish myself personally. I'm very anti religion, very anti cult, which stick around or watch some of my other videos if you're not aware of why. Why am I like that, Audrey? So their podcasts are always 30 minutes and change. This one's 30 minutes, 43 seconds. I'll put the guys up on the screen here. And let me go ahead and do that now. And we're going to watch this together and we can all see how we react. All right. Is that good? Can you see that? All right. So let's go ahead and start this. All right. Let's go.
My sister, Lori Vallow, murdered her.
Sorry, I told you last time, I have this on super fast speed. Let me go over here and change it right here. I have it on 125 because I want to listen quicker. I don't want a slow podcast. But there we go. Back to normal. All right, regular speed. Here we go.
Children, TAKE-TYLEE and JJ, and buried them in a pet cemetery. And we're all trying to make sense of it. So let's talk about it.
Welcome to this podcast, which we have entitled Healing with You, because Adam and I want to incorporate more of your comments in this. We have been getting so many. First of all, we're overwhelmed, both by the number and the sincerity of the comments, and we can't get to all of them as we would like to. When I say get to them, even read all of them, but the ones we read are so overwhelmingly supportive, not just of me and Adam, which we appreciate. We appreciate those. We appreciate the prayers, the hugs, the love that we receive from you, but also how much you share. And people are sharing such touching stories, such personal stories. And we want to start incorporating that more into the podcasts. Adam?
We do. And so Rex and I discussed that this podcast, I will kind of do more of the leading and talk about some things that I want to talk about. And then the next podcast, Rex is going to take that and do a little bit more of that. So we've agreed to that. So, and I wrote some notes because when you do a podcast, and by the way, Rex and I are not professional podcasters. We don't really know anything about podcasting.
I think they know that by now. I don't know how we need to say it.
Well, some people are like, oh, you guys, are podcasts. Like, we don't really know anything about podcasting. So I have a script and some things that I wanted to address and talk about. But before I do that, I do have, as Rex said, a lot of gratitude in my heart today because of like some of the messages that we have read that have come through. I'm just blown away by it. But first, I want to start with this. We are in this podcast because I went to Rex's house one day and we talked about writing a book together because we feel like there's so many people that need to be healed, including us. So we said, let's put a book together that we think that could possibly help other people. And the word help is going to come up a lot in this podcast because that word help is.
Okay. So from a psychic standpoint, most of you know I talk about this, but for anyone new, when there's evil in the world, bad things happening, like murder, rape, whatever, all of the bad things, it doesn't affect just the person or their loved ones who are involved. It affects the entire planet and actually the entire universe. It's just a matter of physics and energy and mathematics. These energies make their way around. So people like me, people like you, we've cried about these murders. We're upset about them. We feel it upsets us. It really upsets us, as it should, because we're human beings. This is awful stuff we're talking about. And, even some of the smaller kind of crimes. But the fact is, there's no justice in murder, and a lot of people are affected by a murder when we don't even know the people. All right.
Everybody needs help, right? So we sat there and talked about writing a book because I have already was writing a book about my experience with Lori and my experience with what happened to me. And I was writing this whole book, and Rex is like, maybe we should collaborate because Rex has just written a book that was released not too long ago. And he's got a lot of great insights in this book that even one of the chapters, he thought about Lori's situation while he was writing one of the chapters, which led us to believe, let's do a collaboration and write a book together, which I love. And then he said, while we're writing the book, maybe we should do a podcast. People had mentioned that we should do a podcast. And I was like, okay, I don't have any problems with doing a podcast. I like to think that we have a lot to say. We can help a lot of people. Let's do this. So I started thinking about doing a podcast, and the first thing that came to my mind was, we got to go talk to Sean. And now, who's Sean? So we're an A podcast studio, and it's in St. George. Not too long ago, I got a phone call when my book came out. And Sean had listened to my book and called me and said, hey, you want to go have lunch? I just listened to your book. And I was like, sure, I'd love that. So I went to go meet Sean for lunch. We had lunch. We talked about my book, because my book is about my radio life. Sean is a radio guy. Sean is literally a genius of radio, because he can actually start a radio station by himself and put everything together piece by piece. And Rex, you've noticed in here, whenever we come in, he's got everything that you would need. So when I came back here, he goes, you want to take a tour? And I was like, sure, let's see what you got. Because he runs the radio station for Utah Tech. So I came in there, I was super impressed. And then I saw the podcast studio. I was like, who did this? He goes, I did. I was like, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. So when Rex asked me to do a podcast, I was like, let's go talk to Sean. And we came to meet Sean, right? So Sean, I want to give you a shout out. Thank you to APod. Can you get on camera? Okay, good. I want to give him a shout out, because he has done an incredible job for us.
Thank you.
Because you and I know nothing about this. And every time we have a question or anything, he's there, and he's been through this whole thing. So are we starting the time or no? Or did you start it? I'm just bragging on you, and then all of a sudden we're still at 30 minutes.
I'll fix it.
Okay, so
all that I have to say, I'll fix it. All right,
good job. So, anyways, I have gratitude in my heart, so I do want to thank Sean for helping us do this podcast. The other thing is, Rex doesn't know I'm doing this, but I want to thank Rex for doing this with me. And I want to go back a little bit and explain. First of all, if you don't know who we are, my name is Adam Cox. This is Rex Connor. We started this podcast because of my sister Lori. Is had a whole situation that we've been talking about for a long time. And with that situation, Rex and I have bonded over that. I feel like him and I see eye to eye on everything that's happened. So, but before this, I want to give a background about Rex and myself. When I was a little kid, we're going way back, not when I was born, but I'm just going to mention a few things just so people can understand our relationship. When I was younger, I was like 4 or 5. I went to a T-ball game, and I remember Uncle Rex came to pick me up and took me to 7-Eleven and got me a Slurpee. And I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. And then as I was getting older, Rex left to go on a mission, and I was very upset that he was leaving to go on a mission. Well, when he came back, I was super excited that he got back from his mission 2 years later, not knowing that he wasn't going to spend a lot of time with me, that he was chasing girls and dating and going to college. Since then, Rex and I have had a really, really strong relationship. And I just remember one of the hardest times of my life before the Lori situation. I had hit the pinnacle of my radio career, and then everything came crashing down, and it was the worst time of my life at that time. And so I was thinking, family came to help and all that stuff. But the one thing about Rex is, during that time, he was the most consistent person that I've ever been around. And so what attracted me to one of the things I love about Rex is how consistent he is. And because I had so much inconsistency in my life, that I feel like watching Rex and how consistent he is, I try to model myself after that, or watch him as he does things. So when he asked that we do this together, I was like, he's the perfect person for me to do this with. And we get along good, and we joke and laugh, and we play basketball together, and we have a great bond outside of this podcast. So I just wanted to give a little bit of background. Plus,
thank you. Did my girls try to get me to cry on camera? Is that what this was about?
No. Did you cry?
Okay.
So anyways, that's our relationship. In my life, I graduated from high school. I didn't graduate from college. Rex actually graduated from college. He has a master's, he has a PhD, and he was a pilot in the Air Force. So I try to gravitate myself to people who are much smarter than me to study them. I have another friend named Eric who he's my life coach, and I listen to things that he has to say. So I try to surround myself with people where I can learn and grow and people that can help me. The word help is going to come up a lot in this podcast because I think we all need help, right? So with that being said, people are saying that Rex and I are doing this for publicity or money. I got to tell you, we've lost money in podcasting. We're in the red. Well, I should say Rex is in the red with podcasting. So we're not making any money podcasting. And if you've written a book before, you know there's not very much money in book either. But we would like this. If there is anybody that's interested in sponsoring our podcast, so we don't have to pay out of our pocket to do a podcast, if there's anybody that would like to do that, please leave a comment and say, yeah, I'd like to sponsor yours. Because I've learned, since we're not podcasters, that people sponsor podcasts. If you want us to continue, as people had said, that may be an avenue for us if somebody out there wants to do that. The other thing that Rex and I talked about is that we feel like we have life experience and we've learned a lot that we can share with other people, or the word help other people with different things. Now, Rex is a speaker. He traveled. He's gone to all across the world. He's gone to Dubai. He's done a lot of public speaking. He speaks at conventions and all that stuff. So I'm going to piggyback on him and say Rex and I would like to do something to help people. And that could be speeches at a convention, at work, or a group of people that need something or looking for something. And you and I have talked about people who hit the crossroads in their life, that they need to make a huge decision. And your book is about this. Mm-hmm. That I feel like there are people, at least the comments that I've been reading on our podcast, there are people that could probably use some of our advice or things that we've gone through that we might be able to help other people. Because I keep reading, your guys' podcast has given me hope. You guys have said certain things that made me think about something or help me with something. So this was our first thing when we came to do a podcast was, who can we help? Even if it's one person. And it turned out to be, we got people in 32 countries that are watching our podcast all over the world. So I would like to throw that out there too. If there's anybody that would like to have me and Rex come to your business or your convention or whatever it is and speak, we would be honored and love to do it, because I think we have some things that we could help you with, or at least suggest things. Now, you're more of an expert at speaking than I am. So that's up there. Leave a comment if there is anybody that wants.
I'm just going to say, I think these guys are LDS, Latter-day Saints. I think that's what they are. So that's going to limit them. I'm sorry. That's going to limit who wants them to come and speak at their company or whatever, because they are religious based kind of guys. Very impressed with Uncle Rex, everything he's accomplished. That's really cool. But yeah, hello. Yeah, you have 10,000 subscribers, so you probably should be making some money at this point. I'm sure the channel will grow. Yeah, so he's looking for sponsors. So yeah, good for him. I hope he does well.
That option to have us do that. And the other thing, Sean, people want to ask us all kinds of questions. As Rex will, as we go through and we read these questions, there's so many to answer. Is there a way that we could let people know that we can do something live and then let people call in or something where we can do it live so we don't have to respond to all these? We could just talk to people. Would that be something you'd be interested in?
I'd love to.
Yeah, we can set up this has a Facebook Live function and a YouTube Live function.
Okay.
And it also has, we can also take phone calls and do Bluetooth and stuff like that. So if you want to go down that road, I'm sure we can.
Okay.
We can do that here.
Let us know in the comments if that's something that you would like to do, because Rex and I would like to, answer as many questions as we can as we talk about these things. Okay. Enough about all that.
Good. You're all full of surprises.
Sorry. I have so much that I wanted to get through. So let's start talking about some of the comments that people have made. Rex and I have been honest and open about everything that we've experienced with the Lori Daybell experience. And I think because you and I were honest and told how our side of it, how we feel, other people felt like you guys are not alone. I have had certain things happen in my life that, are similar. Now, I never thought I would ever hear anybody say that they had anything similar to my family situation, because it's such a bizarre story that I was blown away by some of these comments. And you've read a lot of these comments too. So now that I'm old, I got to put my glasses on. Hopefully I can read some of these. One of the things that I'm going to talk about, and I'm not going to give people's names out because I don't know if they want me to, but somebody had mentioned this in one of the comments. I have experienced similar, but without murderous conclusions, and talked about that her sister, this person had a sister that was demonized and called names and threatened and challenged and all kinds of things. And that their family kind of handled it like my family did, where they kind of let her do what she wanted to do without actually trying to talk it through. And I think you and I had talked about one of the things that my missions was on doing this podcast was to help families that go through something to be able to come together and at least talk about things. And so somebody else had mentioned that as well, that their family needed to do that as well.
All right, I'm going to stop right here and inject something. That is this. Sorry. Even though, like I've mentioned, I don't have a religious connection and don't really feel like I have anything to gain from anyone who is religious and speaking about anything, really, I have to tell you guys, this podcast really confirmed for me that it's okay that I'm sort of divorcing my family and disconnected from them, for my own health and for my husband's health and Johnny, of course, too. So I just want to let you guys know, despite the fact I'm not religious, I've gotten something out of this podcast too. So I hope you guys do too. If you're not religious like me, just listen. Just listen. It's not hurting anybody. All right, let's go.
This one says, I have a similar situation where my family is delusional and has cut off any people who question their behavior and call out for not doing the right thing. She has children that are being affected in our relationship with them, and it has been broken. It's easy to say, I should have done this or said that. But the reality is, if you're going against them, they see you as an enemy and will cut you off, which is what happened to me with Lori.
Right.
So, and there was another situation where a lady made a comment about her sister was delusional and ended up listening to voices in her head and ended up committing suicide and jumping in front of a train. And then her kids went to the husband, and the husband abused the kids. So that's what she was going through. And I was reading that comment. I started feeling going back to where I started feeling the feelings that I felt when I found out that Charles was killed, TAKE-TYLEE and JJ were killed. And I just, I can feel her anxiety when I was reading that comment. And then I started just thinking about, there's so many people that have so many different things going on in their own lives and their own families, that, how do we help? And what can we do to help people with decision making? Now, I know we're responsible for ourselves and making our decision making, Is there anything that you would suggest, Rex, that would help other people, deal with those kinds of things, family wise?
Yes, and I'll reflect this from many comments we've had along those lines. It helps so much, first of all, just to have someone, and it doesn't have to be a family member, but of course, family members are obvious options, but have someone you can talk with about it. Good grief, isn't that the biggest first thing you need? You don't know what to do with all these emotions with this situation that you've never faced in life. We've never faced serial killers in our family.
No.
How do you even get your arms around that? And it helped that you and I talked it through so much. My daughters and I talked it through quite a bit. That's the first thing I think anyone can do, is to listen and not be the typical husband trying to fix it, but just listen and keep listening to help someone.
So that's great advice, and I feel like that does help to have people listen. When it also comes down to, what do you do in your life that, maybe you feel like you can help? Because I know a lot of people were saying, Adam, you couldn't have helped Lori. She's delusional. She was on her own path without. And so you always, as a family member, you're always thinking, what could I have done to prevent it? Or what could I have done to help? Or what, all those things go through your head. So I know a lot of people are suffering with those kinds of things as they, send in a lot of these comments.
I will say that in the next podcast, I'm going to go into detail on what I'm about to say that I'll just address briefly.
Yeah.
Each person is on what I call a universally unique path to this life. Healing from a specific situation, like us healing from this Lori situation, even you and I have unique paths.
Right.
And I believe that whoever gave us our nature, whether you believe it was God or nature, whatever you call it, also gave us an internal guidance system. And we have to rely on that system for our way to heal, to know, who can I talk to? What resources should I use? Everyone talks about counseling. Should I do that? Those are all very personal questions, and you need to get used to being aware of your own internal guidance system. More on that to come.
Yeah, because I have a lot of questions about that, because I think people hear more than just one voice, or think they hear more than one voice. Here's a comment that says, I agree with Adam about communicating. I mentioned that in the last podcast, or one of the podcasts previously, that if we could have just all put our family in one room, my mom and my dad, me, Alex, Lori, and Summer, I feel like then Lori and Alex wouldn't be able to manipulate, or then at least my mom and my dad and Summer could have heard what they were saying, or so I could have put a different spin on it. Just communicating is a huge part of what this person is saying. And
now,
so
they would have heard whatever Lori and Alex
Right.
said. It doesn't mean they come out with the truth, but the point is,
I would have been there.
you can hold each other, or
Accountable.
attempt
Yeah.
to hold each other. There's no guarantee, but you can attempt to hold each other accountable.
And that, I think that's important when to talk about communicating, right? The other thing says, it's a bit idealistic with some people. Not everybody wants to communicate, which is very sad. Conscience and common sense is critical. And the one thing that I was talking earlier about Rex is that I'm one of the things that I admire about him is common sense. And him and I both have, like, if that doesn't make sense, find out why. And that's another part of the internal system, right?
It is.
Your guidance system. Common sense has something to do with that. Okay. So I appreciate that comment as well. Another comment says, Adam and Rex, it would be interesting to explore now with the power of insight. where these feelings of disgust or distrust in law enforcement. So, I had mentioned earlier about Chandler Police Department, and I know everybody has their own deal. And police officers have a very difficult job. And I'm not saying that. I just wish, and I don't want people to come down on the police either. But, some people are saying, you got to hold people accountable and those kinds of things. And am I upset? Yes, it upset me the way it was handled. But I'm not going to blame anybody or police officers for what happened with Lori and Charles's situation.
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
People use the phrase a lot. Blood on their hands. People have blood on their hands. People have said that about you, about Chandler Police, about family members that
Right.
didn't. Our belief, if I can speak for you, if not call it out, our belief is 3 people that we know of have blood on their hands.
Right.
Anyone else may have been able to do something that wasn't done. We'll never have the answer to that for sure, but there are only 3 people in this scenario.
Lori, Chad, and
With
Alan.
blood
our
on their
belief
hands.
that have blood on their hands.
I agree with that. Adam and Rex, hello. I hope you guys are doing well. Thank you for putting this together. I believe that you give us hope. God bless you both. This is from Donna in New Bedford. And the reason I read that, not to say we're doing a great job with this podcast, but she said that we give her hope or give people hope. I love the word hope because there was a time in my life when all this was happening and I felt more alone than I've ever felt in my whole life. And hope was hard to grasp onto. But I hope is a huge thing for healing.
It is
too. So thank you for making that comment and bringing up the word hope. I love hope. I love help. Both of those words to me, a lot of us
Very
need in our
important
lives.
to have
And
hope.
that's why we're-
Very important.
And that's why we're doing this. Yes.
right there, Donna. Thank you.
Yep. A person that has no conscience is a renegade. Anything goes. You're the conscience person. What do you take with that?
I agree completely. I believe everyone has a conscience, but that's not a difference. That's not refuting what they're saying. Some people do not listen to their conscience, whether it's there or not. I put Lori in that category, and they are renegades. You can't stop them. That's the only thing that holds us in check, holds the natural part of us that wants ego, appetites. Nothing wrong with ego and appetites.
Right.
But it has to be held in check with your conscience. If you aren't going to listen to that, who's going to stop you?
This comment says that they seared their conscience. Our conscience is always speaking to us, but it whispers. Lori and the 3 listened to their ego and suppressed their conscience, even though it was speaking.
100%. Meaning I agree 100%.
And just so another thing about this is that people are trying to diagnose what Lori has. Is she delusional? Does she have personality disorder? Is she a narcissist? Is like all those things. And I don't know the answer to that. And I know a lot of people feel like they do know the answer to that, which is fine. I don't have a preference one way or another. But I think what Rex said on the other podcast, no matter what they're diagnosed with, what they planned and what they did was just evil. And there's no other way around. There's no other excuses about it. It's just they chose to do evil with what? Greed and all the things that you mentioned. Their appetite for maybe money and all the things that go along with that. So
sex, power over other people, money.
Yeah.
Is what the prosecutors built their case on. I think that's all applicable. I think all those descriptions are applicable. In my mind, they aren't mutually exclusive. And with you, I don't know the proper, in the psychology world, the proper
diagnosis
name to put on
or whatever.
everything.
Yeah.
Exactly. But evil to me encompasses or overarches all of it.
Yeah. So as we do this podcast and we, I feel like we've given so much information about what we knew about the situation and how we think we can help with talking about it with you guys. I feel like this is like just a big group session, like a big group therapy. And Rex and I are just the moderators. But if you guys, if your comments come in and we can talk about those things, I mean, I feel gratitude that people feel like they can share what's going on in their lives. Because if you think about it, we all have things that are going on in our lives, family, everybody's got something physical. Like I got type 1 diabetes when I was 22 years old. Didn't expect that at all. So I've had type 1 diabetes for 30 years. I know a lot of people listening right now have their own physical part of their body that doesn't work as well as it should, or something that's going on. So we all have to deal with that. We have to deal with relationships. We're all involved in relationships. And on one podcast, we will dive into relationships because, again, I admire how Rex approached his relationship and his marriage with Lisa. Rex and I both have been divorced. I'm still divorced. Rex has got remarried. Hopefully one day I'll be able to do this, but I think I would use your motto, and it doesn't work for everybody, but I really liked how you did that. So we could do a whole podcast on relationships, on physical body. How do you spend your time? Because time is another thing that we need to, you and I had conversations at your house about. I feel that's a huge topic of what are you doing with your time? And I feel like both of us have had enough failures in our life and enough success in our life that we can monitor and, try to make sense of those things as well to try to help other people who are going down a path like that.
And to us, this is all the same topic of healing. So we aren't saying we'll ignore the Lori situation. We'll keep going on whatever topics are important to people.
You're right.
But all of those topics that you mentioned to us relate to healing. And really, that's what we're about. That's what we want for ourselves, and we want for anyone else that's going to be involved in this podcast and reading the book, whatever else we do.
So we hope that you make a comment, whatever it is, and that you can share maybe how you healed, because I don't think there's one way for one person.
Right.
You mentioned that. You mentioned like everybody's going to heal differently. So I think the more comments we get is like, hey, I had a situation and I wasn't forgiving somebody, and then all of a sudden I forgave him and I could heal, or whatever it is. We would love to hear how you have been healed before with something that's going on in your life that we can share with other people.
Something else I love to see in the comments is when people comment on each other's in a positive way. There are some times when it's adversarial, and people can work that out. But
Yeah.
when someone thanks another person for, I'm glad you made that comment. That makes such a difference to me. I love seeing that on there.
Yeah.
So you aren't waiting for us to make a comment on it. If you have something to express sincerely to another person, like, thank you for making that comment, or I faced that situation, here's what I did, please do that also.
Okay. So again, this podcast, we're just going to be a big group therapy, and big hugs to everybody. Thank you for watching. Make comments, and we'll see you next time when we talk about healing again.
All right. I made some notes, of course. So what I got out of this episode is that, by the way, when I gave a kiss to my piece of paper, can you see my kiss mark right there? I was just trying to get the lipstick off because it was getting all over my cup. I was not trying to send kisses to these men. Okay. I just want to be very clear about that. So one thing I received out of today's video is it's okay to have boundaries with your loved ones. And if needed, like me, disassociate, disconnect, remove yourself from the relationships if needed. And yeah, most of us don't have a relative that murdered somebody, but take take these experiences and apply them in your own life to whatever it is you're going through. But one thing, and I ugh, this frustrates me a lot, and it's about forgiveness. Forgiveness does not mean healing. Healing is not based on you forgiving someone. You can be perfectly healed and not have forgiven somebody. And I know that's going to go against what most of the world believes, but I'm telling you, as a psychic medium, I'm just telling you, don't fall into the trap of feeling like you are supposed to forgive someone or something, even if that thing is God or the divine, because you're angry that something happened in your life. Um, don't ever do something out of guilt or because you think you're supposed to do it. That's the completely wrong reasons to forgive somebody. If you don't have the true forgiveness in your heart, in your soul, in the fiber of your being, don't bother. Don't bother. Don't do it. um, and that's something I will continue to talk about because I know, like in Catholicism, there's a lot of guilt in general, right? Um, and just everywhere you go. Like I said, I've been in therapy pretty much my whole life. And, oh, forgiveness and all these YouTube channels and TV shows and it's all based, forgiveness. No, as I've said, forgiveness is a way to protect ourselves. It helps us stay away from the people we shouldn't be around. For one thing, not forgiving someone will not stop you from going to heaven, from crossing over, from finding the right mate, the right partner, life partner. So that's one thing I'm going to continue to talk about myself is don't feel like you have to forgive. There's a lot of things I don't forgive, but I don't run around thinking about it like, oh yeah, you son of a bitch. I don't. I just don't. It's dead to me. Whatever happened, it's dead. It's gone. All right, you guys. Thanks so much for hanging out with me and watching this episode. Like I said in the very beginning, I don't think these guys are like Lori Vallow. Yes, they're human beings, they're blood related. Um, they admit to not being perfect. I can see they're not perfect. I see things in Adam I just don't like, but I don't need to share them with you because you just don't need to know. I share them with my husband. There's just things I don't like. Things that would stop me from being friends with him or Rex. I don't know. Maybe could be friends, but um, yeah. So they're not bad guys. Uh, as you just saw, they're trying to make money. That's okay that they're trying to make money. They're trying to help people. And even though they are of a specific religion, it doesn't mean um, us non-religious people can't get something out of them. So, you know, I say listen to them, see what they have to say. Um, otherwise, I don't think they're going to tell us anything about Lori or Chad that we don't already know. And like these guys said before, like we know more than they do about the situation. A lot of you guys do. You know more about the crime details than these guys do. So interesting. All right. Thanks for hanging out with me, you guys. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button right now. We're creeping towards the 1,000. And like the video, share the video. I'll see you guys soon. All right. Take